Why are you so tired?
I'm tired because I just came out of a Mission Impossible movie. It was like 3 hours.
Was it 3 hours? Well, it started 7:45, but we had 30 minutes of previews.
8:15, 9:15, 10:15. Yeah, almost.
Yeah, about 3 hours. Okay.
Yeah, almost 3 hours.
Like 2 hours, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I felt like overall it was very cheesy. There was one really cool scene. It's probably a spoiler, but overall I would rate the movie a 6 out of 10.
Spoiler free. Okay, so I did think it was. I wouldn't say it was cheesy, but it felt like it was made for a different era. It felt like it was made for the 1990s. It's like a 30-year-old type of direction for the film.
Yeah, I see that.
So with that regard, right? I think nothing that's intentional. I think it's on purpose.
Yeah.
With that in mind,
to bring that nostalgia back to like Mission Impossible fanatics.
Yeah. So if it is on purpose and that is the intention, then I would have to give it a higher score for that reason.
No, but then you can't give it like, a concession because it's made to mimic 90s era movie. There are movies that does that, but it still is done very tastefully. This one was done purely like, I don't know, like kind of like fan service, because like every time there's an old character that appears, and then there's this like, and I'm like, what?
So for you, it was a little cringe.
It was very cringe.
Okay, our train is here. Right. Yeah, let's go. It's crowded. Alright, let's get on. Alright, so let's come on.
Arranged it perfectly so we're at the exit.
Sorry?
You arranged it perfectly so we're right at the exit.
Yeah, I gotta colors off. It's way too bright. I gotta change the color. Give me a second, guys. Let me set the camera up. We're about to head into the darkness anyway, and then we'll continue to review about what we thought of the movie Mission Impossible. What's the name of it? Mission Impossible? Final Requiem?
Final Reckoning.
Oh, Reckoning. Okay. Requiem would have been better.
Doesn't make sense though.
Why?
Requiem is like a safe haven? Is that what Requiem means?
I don't know. You speak a little bit louder for the camera. Or we don't have microphones. Okay. Actually, lighting is not bad.
I was saying the Requiem doesn't make sense because Requiem means a safe haven, right? Is that what it means?
Safe haven. Let me change the ISO. Okay.
Okay.
So what were we saying now?
We were in the middle of.
Well, you were saying it was cringe, pretty
Yes, I
much.
was saying it was cringe because of. I think it was this movie serves purely just to like close a chapter on a successful Mission Impossible franchise. So they're just like it's like an ode to all the characters, bad and good, all in one movie. And like every time they have a flashback to a character, they would be like, nodding as if like I don't know. They used to do this thing where they're like, and then like, are we supposed to know this guy?
Yeah.
I don't think I've only seen probably like 2 other Mission Impossible movies. This one is the what?
This is I don't know, 5th?
56?
I'm not too sure. 56. 5th or 6th.
56. So I don't know most of the characters that they were actually flashbacking.
So you didn't see any of the Mission Impossibles until now?
I did. I said 1 or 2.
Okay, which ones you saw?
I don't know. I don't remember which ones. One when I was much younger, and did I see another one with you?
Nah, Janae and I watched one together a couple years ago. She loved it. I think it was the most recent one before this one.
Okay.
And she loved it. Janae likes action movies. And to be honest, right, I feel like Tom Cruise has he's earned his flowers when it comes to making action films.
Yeah. I think a lot of the action scenes just now, like the submarine scene.
Oh, no, so don't talk about it. Don't talk about
Let's
it.
bleep it out.
Okay, we can't. I don't even know how to bleep that out.
Bleep scene.
Okay.
And the bleep scene.
Okay. I'll figure out how to edit it.
I think those two scenes. I think you know what's the second one I'm referring to. At the end.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool because you can actually see that he did his own stunts, even though it's not actually like 10,000 feet in the air.
Whoa! We're spoiling everything, yo.
Bleep, bleep.
That's right. I won't post this. I just put it for our private channel.
No, we can bleep that out.
Okay.
Okay, so all right, let's get back to the rating. So I said that it was a 6 out of 10 for me. If I start from the top, I would take off a lot of points for the writing. I feel like the dialogue at a lot of points in time was very cringy.
Yeah, I was thinking about Benicio del Toro. His movies have such good writing. He has such cool lines. Everyone has such cool lines, and he's just like oozing in cool sauce, right? And with this one, everyone was just saying like cheesy. The writing did seem a little amateurish.
Yeah.
To me.
It seemed like a high school play-ish.
Yeah.
You know the black guy? The black guy, when they were discussing the plan, and the black guy is like,
So Luther?
what's his name? The one who stayed back with the two older couple.
Oh yeah. The mixed black guy. The younger black guy.
The younger black guy.
Yeah. I can't remember his name. He was very unforgettable. I think he was a bad.
Forgettable or unforgettable?
Oh, sorry, he was forgettable, and his acting I think was
horrible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because at one point he was like, wait, so he was like the character that sole purpose was to spell out what the plan is for the slower audiences.
Yeah. So I think that they
I mean?
tried to trust the audience with most things to just understand what's happening, but then he would pop in every now and then. It was like, oh, you talk about the decompression chamber? Well, let me tell you how that works. You just come out of nowhere with these.
You almost expect him to like pause the movie and be like, oh, let me explain how it works for you. So I take a point off for writing, a point off for all the unnecessary. I guess because I'm not a Mission Impossible fan, like a huge fan.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't serve me any purpose for them to do the whole like ode to the franchise. So in this movie, I feel like most of it was just like an ode to the franchise because 20% of it was flashbacks to characters and scenes from other movies.
Yeah.
There was one big one, which we found out at the. Okay, let's move it.
Okay.
So that. What else would I give points off of? Oh, maybe it's intentional, but I feel like the plot was too. Everything had to be too like serendipitous because things had to happen, align perfectly, and.
Oh yeah, it just was like a series of coincidence after coincidence. That to me is poor writing. When everything is just a series of coincidence.
And I think they tried to acknowledge it with the girl's character. She was just like, wait, so you're saying that this has to happen at this time. And then I think they were trying to acknowledge that, yes, luck plays a big role.
It seemed like luck was the biggest thing happening. And it just seemed like everything that happened was because the stars aligned. So each and every scene, the stars align. Each and every movie, the stars align. Everything that happens is because the stars have aligned, and it just was a stroke of course, the strategic planning happening. Ethan Hunt is the master of strategy, right? But it seems like it relies entirely on luck. Luck is his biggest tool in his arsenal.
Yeah.
That's his plot armor, just having extremely like crazy luck.
Yeah.
I think it took away from his successes as well.
Yeah.
When you realize so much of it's just coincidence and luck.
Yeah.
And good music, right?
So maybe that's what action movies don't need to make sense because after all, people are there for the action, right? Which this movie gave. I think the action itself actually, certain scenes. At the beginning, the action was horrible.
Yeah,
Remember?
it was very choppy, discontinuous, cut up, bad edits,
And
a
then there was
series
one
of
part
like,
where it was just like sounds of punching, boom, 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 and then the girl was like,
yeah.
and then
Then
all
after,
of a sudden
it was like
everyone's dead.
it was like 20 seconds
That's
of
not spoilers.
It's like 20 seconds of essentially you could hear fighting going on in the background. Nothing was shown. I think that maybe what happened was maybe they had to cut a whole scene out. They couldn't have a chance to refilm it, so they just had to like cover it up badly. But it was a series of like choppy, bad edits. I think they were trying to tell us of a recap of events in a very small window of time. So if you're not a big fan of the series and they're trying to pull new audiences in, and for us to understand what's happening inside the story, it just, and I got caught up, so I appreciate it. But
yeah,
to me, it was very badly done.
yeah.
It was just a poor. Maybe they should have had like instead of previews at the beginning, they could have had like a 30-minute recap. You know,
Yeah.
maybe have like two versions of the film. One includes a recap and one doesn't.
Yeah. And all the characters are, I don't know, I wasn't feeling all the characters. I think that's probably why I would take off another point.
Oh,
The
like
character development was just very like, maybe they already like, maybe they acknowledge that they've already done most of the character development in previous movies, and therefore in this movie they don't need to do that anymore. Maybe that's it.
I don't know.
But based on this movie, maybe as a standalone movie, it's a horrible movie. But if you put it together with the rest of the movies, then maybe it's a good bookend to the franchise.
I didn't think it was horrible. I do think the beginning was bad. The beginning to me felt like it felt like playing a video game with a bunch of horrible cutscenes that you have to get through before you can actually get to the gameplay.
Yeah.
A series of just bad
Yeah.
cutscenes after cutscene, and then I think toward the middle,
Okay.
the movie did start to improve quite a bit. At the end, I thought I was pulled in. I was pulled in from the middle, I would say.
I fell asleep a little bit
Yeah, she fell
at the
asleep.
end.
Not because I don't think the movie it wasn't lacking in action, but she worked a full day, so yeah, maybe she's not even qualified to give a review because she fell asleep during part of it,
No,
right?
it was like two seconds.
Okay, 2 seconds.
But yeah, as in I feel like the action scenes in the second half of the movie was really, really good. I give it to them because you're really like at the edge of your seat, like, oh shit. And like anyone who would have watched that movie and watched this now, like without us saying which scene it is, I think you would know which scene you're referring to.
Yeah, there's one scene that's so like grand. I don't know if the whole budget went to that, but it was so grand. It was
Yeah.
so big. It was so epic. The music, the score, it was phenomenal. That one scene, and I was truly like pulled in, and the whole theater was pulled in.
Yeah.
Everyone was quiet for like a good, I don't know how long the scene went on for, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And they didn't cut to anyone else during the scene. They just left it on one person, and it was really just a powerful moment.
You know what? I'm just realizing.
What?
You know how from the very beginning, and this is not a spoiler, from the very beginning of the movie, we know that he has a key,
Yes.
and it's a really like beautiful key, which comes in two halves and stuff. I never saw that key actually being used.
Yeah. So that's something I didn't think about until now as well. Where it talk a lot about a key, and
And it's a beautiful key.
it is used very briefly though. There's so much build up to it, and then
Yeah.
it's just used in a. It's just. Yeah, I don't know. I think he probably could have went with a different director.
Yeah.
I think the director probably made some
Yeah.
bad
I think
decisions.
the camera work wasn't good for the first half of the movie.
Yeah, the edits was really choppy,
Yeah.
hard to follow.
Just-
Yeah, the cat poop. All right, so want to keep
What would
going?
you rate it?
Me, I thought it was okay. So the reason I would give it a higher score is because I'm basing it on its intention, what it was trying to accomplish, and if it did accomplish that. I feel like for what it set out to accomplish, I think it did accomplish it.
What do you think it set out to accomplish?
I think it was just trying to deliver a movie that was nostalgic to the 90s. And with that in mind, did it accomplish that? It did. Did I like that?
The lighting and stuff in the beginning?
The lighting, the direction, did I like it? Not particularly. But I'm not going to, base it on... So enjoyment and my rating for the movie would be different. So I guess my enjoyment shifted over the course of the film. And to the beginning, I guess I would say my enjoyment is like a 4 out of 5, 4 or 5 out of 10. And then toward the middle, it was like 10 out of 10. I was like so pulled into this one scene at the end. I guess 8 out of 10. Overall, I'll give it a 7 out of 10 for total enjoyment.
Wait, what is 8 out of 10?
I guess the end.
Okay.
And,
okay. Yeah, that's fair.
But his movies are always very climactic. The ending is always big and grand adventure. Alright, so we're back. I left the light on for the cats. Hope you don't mind. Trying to get the water off my boots. Sorry about this. So what happened was I took my boots out today and I forgot something at the door. So I had to go back to the door and get it, and then I tracked the dirt from the backyard throughout the house. I'll clean it. I didn't have time today to catch the movie. Anyway, say bye to the camera.